Well, thank you, Madam President, and good morning, everyone. It's great to be here in Council Chambers today. And next Tuesday, June 20th, is World Refugee Day. The day is a reminder of the millions of people around the world displaced by conflict, environmental ruin, and persecution. And I am proud here to introduce you all to Miry Whitehill, an Eagle Rock resident and founder of Miry's List, who has created an amazing program to help refugees, including those coming from war-torn countries like Syria and Afghanistan. And many of these, as you know, make their difficult transition to life here in the United States with very little. Miry is here today with her parents, Susan Lilly and Robert Whitehill. Welcome. Her husband, Ben Attar, and Cindy Ottison, president of Miry's List, who is also the vice president of the Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council. Miry and Cindy and all the volunteers who help them and the scores of people who have heeded the call to help these families are the very best that America has to offer. They embody the values that have made us the greatest country on earth. We are a nation of immigrants, and we are at our best when we celebrate our diversity. And as Americans, our compassion has always been our greatest strength and is renowned throughout the world and throughout our nation's history. Miry's List and the values that it stands for are in stark contrast to the lack of values coming out of the White House these days. Instead of finding ways that the United States can provide a haven for people facing war, famine, and persecution, our president instead seeks to vilify them. Instead of welcoming people in need, he wants to build walls and ban people according to religion and nationality. Instead of helping them assimilate, he is creating a breeding ground for hatred and discrimination. In the City of Angels, we have a very different approach, and it's one we share with the inscription of the Statue of Liberty. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. We will stand with our new neighbors and say we value you, we respect you, and we welcome you. I am honored to recognize an organization that's become a true example of these values, Miry's List and its founder, Miry Whitehill. Back in September of 2016, Miry was talking with a friend who knew a Syrian family who had recently resettled in the United States. The family had a small child and needed a jumperoo, one of those bouncing entertainment things that many of your parents know. The parents know what they are. Miry posted on her Facebook page asking if any families had one they were willing to donate. She quickly had 4 jumperoos. And you're smiling, Madam President. You know what they are, right? You have 2. When she delivered it to the family, she noticed they were in need of other basic household items that we all take for granted. She walked through the home with the family and made a list of what they needed and posted it on her Facebook page. In 2 weeks, the list was complete, but Miry's List was just getting started. Miry's single act of kindness has blossomed into a calling, a passion, with scores of volunteers and good people like Miry and Cindy and many others who bring so much more than just items to refugee families, many who have seen and experienced truly horrific things. What Miry's List really brings is hope, kindness, and friendship. Refugee families arrive to this country with only the bags they can carry. Many of the families have special needs, such as small children or disabled family members. Often, these families get placed in motels and hotels, which can drain any financial resources they had when they arrived. Miry's List works to find the families a place to stay or an apartment they can rent. A Miry's List volunteer will visit the family and work with them to create a priority list of what they need. People from all over the country can see the list online and help these families directly, and the response has been incredible, and it reminds us of what this country is truly about. About 100 families have been helped, if not more, since that fateful day in 2016 that Miry decided to help one family. Miry's work is not limited to just Miry's List. As treasurer of the Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council, she drafted a welcoming resolution to demonstrate a commitment to immigrants and refugees and began mobilizing support and donations from families in need. When hateful rhetoric is rising throughout the country, it is reassuring that people are meeting that hate with love and empathy. And as an immigrant, I cannot be prouder of the Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council for taking this stand and affirming that LA indeed welcomes immigrants and refugees to join our community. This Sunday, Miry's List is having its first fundraiser at the Center for the Arts in Eagle Rock. Let's watch a short video about Sunday's event and about the very important phrase, Ana Huna. Video, please.
Anahuna means I'm here in Arabic, and it's a phrase that I use all the time in my work with new arrival families. It is what I say when I am driving to a family's house and I can send them a text message, let them know I've arrived. I say, Anahuna, I'm here. A little later, we'll be in their apartment sitting on the floor with the family, and I will turn and notice that mom is crying and she has tears coming down her face. I don't speak Arabic, and so I couldn't possibly come up with the words to tell her what I want to tell her in those moments, because she has been through so much. And the only thing I can say is Anahuna, I'm here. Anahuna is also for our families. They have waited so long and had to withstand unthinkable violence and trauma, but they've made it. And they're here, and they're home. And Anahuna is for them to proclaim, I'm here.
Hi, we are here.
Anahuna.
On June 18th, we are having a fundraiser for Miry's List in celebration of World Refugee Day at the Eagle Rock Center for the Arts. It's called I'm Here, Anahuna. We are going to have Syrian food lovingly prepared by one of our families, music from one of our very talented musicians from Syria, and we are going to have a group discussion with 4 members from our families who are going to speak with us about their experience.
Today
And every day.
Anahuna.
You can get tickets right now at www.myryslist.org/Anahuna.
What an incredible story this is, and really, Miry and Miry's List, you embody what it means to be an American. Thank you so much for your work. And on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, we'd love to present to you this resolution, thanking you and encouraging you to keep doing the great work you're doing. Congratulations.
Hello.
Good morning.
Thank you, Councilman Huizar. It's pretty unfair that I have to speak after watching the video. We designed it to make the tears flow, and so I'm a little bit choked up. Hearing Councilman Huizar talk about our work. 10 months ago, my friend Suzanne Smith, who's here today, introduced me to a family that she knew who had just arrived from Syria. I am a stay-at-home mom. My kids are here. My previous life was in digital advertising. I have no background in the nonprofit world, humanitarian assistance, politics, policy. I'm on Twitter. That's pretty much the extent of my political knowledge. I met this family who had a baby the same age as mine. Their youngest was the same age as my youngest. And meeting them and bonding with them was this life-changing and eye-opening experience. And Councilman Huizar, he talked about kind of that first family with the jumperoo and how it kind of snowballed into this movement. And I find this work to be life-changing because it's made me realize how much control we have. I can't control policies, and I cannot change hearts of politicians that will never see the world the way I see the world. And I certainly cannot help the thousands of babies and families that are suffering overseas at the hands of governments
and everyone else. But what we can do, and what we have proven with Miry's list, is that we can control the family's experience for the people that have arrived here. This is not work about policy. We don't plan on trying to change any laws. What we're doing is giving regular people access to helping their newest neighbors. And in that way, this work is transformative, and it's completely changed my life. We now serve over 100 families from Syria, Afghanistan, Iran, and Iraq. We are growing by 12 families a week. In my world, I wake up every morning to text messages from people I have just met or barely know, with pictures of kids in beds and kids on bikes and kitchens with tables and a family meal prepared, and emojis with the grateful hands and kissing face emojis. We don't have a common language. They speak Arabic or Farsi. I speak English and Hebrew. So this is how we communicate. That's what I wake up to every morning. And throughout the day, I am reading texts and taking calls from people all over LA, particularly from people in my neighborhood of Eagle Rock, which was the hub and kind of incubator for this work, letting me know that they have skills, resources, time, money, and they want to give those things to perfect strangers. That is the world that I live in. And it gives me this amazing window where I get to see the best of people. People when they're in the mode of giving, and then on the other side, the amazing feeling of gratitude. Thank you so much, Councilman Huizar. I don't know where you are.
Back here.
Oh, there you are. Thank you for recognizing and supporting this work. This really started with one person talking to another person, and it has evolved into this movement of thousands. And it won't be long before we'll have really perfected the model that works really well here in Los Angeles and Southern California, and we'll be rolling this program out to every refugee city in America. How much time do I have? Okay. Life is so different when we have power. I know that so many people feel like we have no power right now. And my response or reply to this is, as long as you focus on solving things that cannot be solved, we have no power. If we focus our energy on fixing the very real and solvable problems that we can, how beautiful is that? Everything is different. So, if you are available and free on June 18th at 5 o'clock, we're having an event at the Center for the Arts Eagle Rock, that is designed to shine a light on all of the elements of new arrival refugee culture that we don't see on the news. Nobody talks about how wonderful these families can cook. Nobody talks about the fact that there's teenagers who have experienced all of this horrific process of having to flee your home, live in this gray area, and migrate to a new country. And they developed music skills, and they have used music to free them throughout this incredibly difficult process. We have an entire new neighbor community of amazing musicians and cooks, and nobody talks about it. So we're going to talk about it on the 18th. And I really hope the people in this room can be there with us.
Thank you very much. Mr. City Attorney, Mr. Huizar, Mr. City Attorney, Mr. Herman has been interrupting this presentation since the very beginning. I've said this to him before. This is not daycare, and these are amazing people that are being honored today. If you can't sit there and behave, I'm going to ask you to leave.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, these have not been fleeting gestures for Mr. Herman. He's been continuously disrupting the meeting with constant motion throughout the entire time.
Mr. Huizar, I also have Mr. Cedillo on the queue. Did you have other speakers?
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Cedillo?
I just want to rise to praise you and Mr. Huizar, commend you for acknowledging what a great angel of the city. Gandhi talks about let us be the change that we want to see, and you are exactly that. You and your family are being great Angelinos. Martin Luther King talks about the measure of a person is not where they stand at comfort or convenience, but where they stand at conflict and controversy, that the real neighbor will sacrifice their lives for the well-being of others. And you are doing that. You are changing your life. You're changing the life of your family, and then changing the life of your community, because you are willing to sacrifice to help your neighbor. You are the best of Los Angeles. You are absolutely right. We do have power, and we have the power to change the things within our control. While there may be insanity taking place in Washington, we here in the city, we talk about this a lot in our staff, in our district, we can change our community neighbor by neighbor, block by block, and build this city and make it the beacon of resistance, and make it the place where we welcome immigrants and refugees, because they are the future Americans, and they are going to be such an asset. As you know, they're resilient, they're courageous, they're creative, and they have so many contributions to make to our city. And so what you are doing is really the most American thing that can be done today to build our city and our nation. So thank you, and God bless you.
Mr. Cedillo?
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo.
Oh, I'm sorry,
and
Mr. Huizar.
that reminds me of, in a different context, when my family arrived from Mexico as an immigrant family. It was our neighbors, our teachers, and everyone who helped us acclimate to this great country. And you're doing the same work in a different context for some families who truly need it. And you're correct. Just within our reach, when we get so frustrated about what's happening nationally and internationally, here locally, we could do. We call it simple, but I know it's a lot of work, but we could do what we can within our own power to really help the situation. So thank you again on behalf of the City of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huizar. Thank you very much for everything you do.